Welcome. I am Debbie Rochester with All Good Home Watch, and today we have Victoria Manzanetto of Redemption Junk Removal located in Queen Creek and Santan Valley, Arizona. Her and her husband, Lupe, they own Redemption Junk Removal. So Victoria, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad that you're here. So I'm really excited. Let's jump into it. So I have some questions for you. And of course, you can add anything else that you'd like to as well. So first of all, how did you get into the business of junk removal?
So we got into the business of junk removal by wanting to get out of working for someone else. um, we started looking into property preservation, winterizing homes that were being turned over. And then that kind of just got put on the back burner. But then eventually in that process, junk removal popped up as I was doing my research. And I was like, this is really cool. I could see myself doing this. I could see us doing this. It looked fun. Um, the amount of money you make in like 2 weeks pay was in a couple of hours. So it was pretty interesting. But what really set it off was we were in church listening to a sermon by our pastor, and how he mentioned that we really want to be able to stand on our own 2 feet, able to provide for our families without relying on other sources. And so it really hit home for us, and we went full speed ahead.
I love that. That's
Hmm.
awesome. That's awesome. So what kind of things do you move? Because when people think junk, right, they think that you're just going and picking up the leftover garbage of maybe when somebody has moved out or from construction sites. So what kind of things do you move?
Right. So the name junk is just a general term. It can be anything from actually the trash on the curb to furniture and just things that people don't want anymore, period. And that could be anything from garbage, that could be mattresses, beds, old furniture, old dressers. And it could also just be things that have been left behind from other movers, or maybe there's been a loss in the family and the kids don't know what to do with the belongings. That's a huge one. We deal with that a lot. So yeah, it's not necessarily junk, and we try not to, in those types of situations that I just mentioned, we definitely try not to treat it as junk. We want to be sentimental to the family. We want to be concerned and caring of the things that they're trying to get rid of.
I love that. I love that, especially when people they have, like you said, sentimental things, maybe even things that parents have left behind or other people, but they don't want to throw them
Yeah.
out. So that
Right.
kind of leads us into my next question. Where do
Yeah.
you bring all of the items that you do collect?
So if it's trash, straight out, it goes to the trash. It goes to the landfill. If it's repurposable, usable, something that someone can use, we donate to places such as House of Refuge, women's shelters. We personally know families that are in need of things all the time, from our local church or from other places, and so we like to give those things to them.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
And what are some frequently asked questions from clients that you get maybe when they initially call you?
What do you do with my stuff? That's a big one. Because we can call it junk, right? But to them, it's not junk. And so we have to connect with them on that level of, if this is garbage, if we can't give this to someone, if we can't help someone with this, it does have to go to the trash, and we kind of walk them through that process. But if not, they get really excited to know that it's going to go to someone who can use it.
Yeah. Love to tell you, I do follow you on Facebook and I love all the cool things that you do move in the before and the after. Very engaging photos. So I always enjoy the posts a lot.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, don't tell anyone that. You fooled me. You fooled me. So what are some tips you can share to make it easier for clients when you arrive to remove their junk?
So, one thing that we like to ask is that if there's anything that's stained, if they could mark it. We say, maybe put a piece of tape on it, like a colored tape, painter's tape or something, a sticky note, just something that marks that it's stained, especially if they're not going to be there. because they can initially tell us, hey, I want this gone, this gone, this gone. But in the process of moving, and you're moving fast, you're likely to grab something you shouldn't grab. And so if somebody marks it for us, it's a lot easier to say, okay, that item stays. We don't take that.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. And
Hmm.
what is the most interesting or craziest thing that you have found or moved?
Oh man. There's
Maybe
been
a long answer.
Yeah, there has been so many things. Off the top of my head though, um I don't know. We've found a lot of we do what we call find of the days.
Yeah.
And so when we come across something cool, it's like, hey, look, we found this, right? And there's been so the other day my husband found a CrossFit, like a weighted vest. We know those things are a pretty penny. We find a lot of vintage items, a lot of tea sets, dishes. We find old dolls. One really cool find we had was a Cabbage Patch doll. You remember Cabbage Patch
Yes, I
dolls, right?
do.
Okay. This is a porcelain Cabbage Patch doll with her birth certificate,
Wow.
and her price back then was 280. So I don't know, now what that would be worth value, but we just find things that you just never think you would find. Things that you thought were long gone, we're finding them in the homes that we clean out.
Interesting. And what
Mhm.
year was the Cabbage Patch doll born? You said it was a birth
Yeah, I
certificate.
think she was like 86 or something like that. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that's not too long ago. For you, it may
Yeah.
be a really long time ago.
Yeah. But it's just funny. You
Yeah.
never know what you're gonna find. And people are really hung up on vintage right now. Well, what they call vintage, and we call, hey, I grew up with that.
Life.
So like clothing from the 90s, toys from the 90s, just different things like that. I know there's a group of kids out there selling that stuff for big bucks.
That's interesting. So,
Yeah.
what are some things that people should hold on to that maybe they look at and go, that's not valuable? So maybe they're not aware of it, that you come across it. People are just throwing out as junk, but you're like, oh, if they only knew.
Right. So jewelry is a big one.
Okay.
A lot of times costume jewelry can get mixed in with real jewelry. My advice, and it's even hard for us because it's time consuming. If you have the time, take your item, scan a picture of it on Google, and then it'll pop up a bunch of different sites or research options where you might see the value of the item. Hmm.
Yeah, that's
So
really
you
good
never know.
advice. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it doesn't
you
even take that long. You just snap a picture, put it into Google Images, and in a couple of seconds, you could see if this is maybe something valuable to look more into.
Yeah, but oftentimes our customers, they don't have the time for that. They don't want to bother with it, and so they're like, just take it. I'm sure it's worth something, you just take it.
So I have checked out your reviews. I'm very big on that on the other companies, and you have great reviews. So how do you make sure that your clients are happy with your services?
So it's customer service from beginning to end. And if we do mess up something or we don't understand something, we make sure to make it right with the customer, to understand the customer. Um, and just we like I said, what makes us different is that we don't just show up and haul out your stuff. We show up, we talk to you, we get to know you, we know about your family, we get to know the history of the stuff that we're taking, what is your next move, where are you going next. We really like to engage with our customers, and we stay in touch with them even after services are all done. And it really helps because they think of us at top of mind and say, hey, when I have a family member or a friend, I know who to give a call to or to refer them to. But yes, customer service is huge. I've been in customer service practically my whole life, and so that that's it.
I love that. I love
Yep.
that. So what are your service areas? I know that we said that you're based in Queen Creek, Santan Valley, but what other areas do you service?
So we do service the valley. We go to Coolidge, Florence, Chandler. We will go to Phoenix, Scottsdale. It just depending on the volume of the stuff. how far we'll go out. But we are localizing more to East Valley, but we will go out there if we absolutely need to.
Okay,
Mhm.
wonderful. And how do clients contact you?
So we can be reached at my phone number. It's all over the internet. It's all over social media. We can be reached on Facebook, Instagram. We do have a website. It's in the works, but we can still be reached there. And of course, looking us up on Google, where we're found a lot on Google for sure. Yeah.
Perfect. So at the end of this video, I will have a page that has all your information so that clients, viewers can just screenshot it or pause the video and write it down. So if they didn't get a
Yes.
chance to write everything down that you just said, at the end of the video, I will post it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anything that you would like to add that I haven't asked?
Um, no, just that I would say a huge part of learning to run a business is networking, and that's how I met you.
Yeah.
And so that's really been helpful, and I would highly recommend that to anyone who's looking to start any kind of business. Networking is a lifestyle.
Well, wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
Victoria, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I don't know if Lupe is in the background or if he's out on the field working, but I really appreciate Is he in the background? Thank
He's in
you,
the
Lupe.
background. He said,
Maybe he just stick his hand in and wave.
yeah.
His hand can. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, thank you again so much.
Well, thank you, Debbie. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.